gain size, get bigger, get stronger. I think main gaining is solid. Hit your protein.
It really is that simple. Coach Greg, in today's video, Sam Sulek is under 13 weeks out as he prepares to battle the top IFBB Pro Classic Physique competitors in the world. His next show, the Arnold Classic, and in today's video, we go through his newly formed diet. As you know, prior to this, he's been bulking, and by bulking, I mean he's been main gaining. After the show where he won and got his IFBB Pro card, he went on a bulk up to about 3,500 calories. Prior to that, years prior, he was over 5,000 calories, but Sam Sulek is getting smarter each and every year, and so he upped it to about 3,500 calories, got his weight up close to 270 while staying moderately lean, but it's now time to strip off all the fat. And so let's get right into it.
In a gaining phase, like if you're trying to gain weight, gain size, get bigger, get stronger, a little bit of body fat isn't going to kill you, right? As a beginner, I think main gaining is solid. Hit your protein.
And so there you have it. Sam's words out of his own mouth. Main gain. Next time you see Jeff Nipaw and the rest of the science-based lifters saying you need to bulk and cut, you actually don't. Main gaining at a healthy body fat percentage, for most people 10 to 15%. You just eat enough calories, you have enough protein, and you will in fact put on muscle.
So I got up to about 265 pounds morning fasted weight. And now, after a little bit over 3 months of dieting, I've kind of worked my way down to now like a 240.
And so Sam was up to 265 pounds, but for the last 3 months, he's been on a slow and steady cut, and he's now sitting at 240. About 12 weeks out, and now is the time that it's going to get hard. If you are in fact using GLPs, for example, Zempic, Tirzepatide, Retatrutide, and so on, it's of course going to be a lot easier. You're not going to have that hunger, the cravings, and if you are in fact obese, you're struggling, it's not as hard as it once was. Bodybuilding, when I was growing up, it used to actually be a challenge, but today's world, all you have to do is take the right amount of chemistry, steroids, SARMs, you name it, perhaps even testosterone prescribed by a doctor, and it isn't really all that hard. I mean, I know you want me to say how hard bodybuilding is, and it's not that it's easy, but it's simply so much easier than it once was, from the foods, the supplements, everything. And so if you're interested in making your life easier than last time, purchase HTLT supplements, code Greg 15% off, or go and visit AlgoRx. Doctors at AlgoRx can prescribe to you legal pharmaceutical medications to make your life a little bit better. Code Greg 10% off.
What I'd call the Sam Sulek approach to dieting: burn more energy every day than I eat.
And so the Sam Sulek diet, it basically sounds like the every single human being on the planet diet. You have to burn off more calories than you take in. He has 12 pounds of fat to lose, and he has 12 weeks. 1 pound of fat per week, 3,500 calories in a pound, and so he needs a daily deficit of 500 calories. Whether it comes from eating fewer calories or doing more cardio, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
Even The Rock knows it doesn't matter, especially considering he's playing the Chicken Man, where he's lost more weight than last time, looking very small for The Rock, playing a man over 70 whose best friend is a chicken.
In terms of protein, I think for anybody, just about a gram for however many pounds you weigh, lean-ish, is good. I'm 240. I'm eating 250 just because 250 is kind of a good number. I like it.
You know what's even cooler than 250? It's 260.
Plus, I'd rather have more carbs in my system because that's going to make your training feel better.
You know what else would make him feel better? My friggin' cookbook. Sam, you gotta jump on the bandwagon. Join the nearly 100,000 other people who have gotten my cookbook, the low-calorie delicious recipes for the big eater. Code Greg 15% off.
Protein's going to stay the same. Fats are going to stay the same. And then I just have to gradually eat less and less carbs to accommodate continuing to lose a steady amount of weight.
Or you do more bike riding. For example, instead of riding 30 minutes a day, you ride 45. Those extra 15 minutes would burn those extra calories, and you wouldn't have to change your diet whatsoever. I eat 4,500 calories a day, which is probably close to double what Sam Sulek is eating. And why? Because my metabolism is very fast from riding all those miles on that bike.
Meal number one was my pre-workout meal, which was literally 2.5 ounces of ground beef and 2 rice cakes. The ground beef had a little bit of sugar-free barbecue sauce on it, and each rice cake had a little bit of sugar-free nut syrup. So not a lot of food. Like, that only added up to about 250 calories.
250 calories.
Bruh.
I think Sam can eat a little bit more than 250 calories considering he weighs 240 pounds. And so my recommendation, if you're following Sam Sulek to learn how to diet, is double his meal one. Whatever he's eating for meal one, double it. 500 calories, perhaps close to 50 grams of protein. That seems to make a lot more sense. 250 calories, if you're on a 2,500 calorie diet, which for Sam should be lower than he actually needs, it would allow him to eat 10 times a day. 250 calories times 10, 2,500. And so why is Sam starving himself for meal one?
That was just so I'd have a little something in my stomach before I trained, because I lift in the morning when I'm dieting for the most part, and I don't want to lift fasted. I want at least a little something.
And so he says, look, I like to lift fasted, but I don't want to be fasted because if you eat protein, calories, you're going to build more muscle. I personally don't think there's a big difference between eating 500 calories and 250. If Sam were to double up on those calories, for example, having 4 rice cakes and 5 ounces of beef, would he really feel too full and bloated to go and do some squats? I don't think so.
We're looking at 8 ounces of ground beef, 4 grams of carbs, worth of a sugar-free barbecue sauce, and then 2 packs of an instant peach oatmeal. Now, some are going to say, well, why would you eat the oatmeal with added sugar? What are you, freaking nuts?
Guys, it's not that deep. Calories in, calories out. And after you go to the gym, what do you think the sugar is going to do to your body? It's going to be converted to glycogen and help you recover. You don't have to cut out all the sugar from your diet. And the more cardio you do, the more sugar you can actually eat. Sugar is not the enemy. A surplus calorie count is actually what you're trying to avoid.
The added, 8 grams of sugars in each of these oatmeal packs, it really doesn't hit me like that. Plus, I don't understand the hate on carbs in a dieting phase,
Honestly, he had 40 grams of Skittles and he was in a calorie deficit and it was only 1 meal a day. I don't believe it would make any difference on his physique whatsoever. Assuming that he's eating plenty of calories, that he's not cutting out all the fruits and vegetables, he's getting enough vitamins, minerals, fiber, protein, etc. I don't think it's a bad thing to have 1 meal a day where you can eat whatever you want. I've done that on my bodybuilding diets. I've done that with my clients and they've done amazingly well. I'm known for coaching people to get shredded. Just look at Ian Valère, who made it to the Mr. Olympia. When I was coaching Ian, his words, not mine, he was the leanest he ever was.
When I worked with Greg, I looked amazing. Like, I looked crazy good. When I worked with Greg Doucette, I ate protein bars, protein pudding,
Yep.
I ate popcorn, and that was the best conditioning I probably had in all this.
I never stated that it doesn't work or it's not good.
Was coaching him until he turned professional, and so clearly my methods work. Interested in working with me, you can apply by clicking the link in the description. But remember, if you're not working with me, you can, of course, consume the diets that I would be offering. And so if you're interested in my cookbook, code Greg, 15% off.
That puts me now at 725 calories.
475 calories in meal 2, total 725. And remember, you don't just need to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. He's got beef with oatmeal. It could have been beef with Skittles for all I care, and it still would allow you to lose weight. Now, I'm not saying all your meals should just be consuming sugar, candies, and so on, but you should have balance in your diet. Unless you're a hardcore, dedicated bodybuilding professional, I see no reason why you have to eat that strict. Remember, the diet that you can follow for the rest of your life is the diet that you love. You need to do more than like your diet, you need to love it. Imagine having the same girlfriend for the entirety of your life. I like her. To have the same girlfriend forever, you need to do a lot more than just like her. You need to, in fact, love her. And so, like your woman, love your freaking diet.
You're probably safer overestimating the amount of fats that are in it than underestimating, because if you underestimate in a diet, that's going to lead to you overeating, and then you're going to sit here like, oh, I only ate 2,500 calories. Why is the scale not moving? And guess what? You really ate 3,200.
If you're off by 700 calories guessing how many fat grams are in your steak, then there's something wrong with your estimations. And so, no, it's not better to underestimate or overestimate. It's better to just estimate. Sometimes you're going to be over, sometimes you're going to be under, but you shouldn't just say, oh, I think there's 500 calories here. I'm going to mark it down as 700 just in case. Because if you do that, you might underconsume calories, lose too much weight, and a lot of that will, in fact, be muscle. What is my recommendation? You weigh yourself 7 days a week, at least 5, and you take the median weight, the middle number. Each week you track that, and whether you're consuming more calories than you think, less calories than you think, what your coach tell you to eat, none of that matters. Because in the end, did the scale go up or did it go down? If it's going up and you're on a diet, guess what? You eat less or you move more. It's as simple as that, period.
I'm gonna sit and finish this half pound of ground beef first, then enjoy the oatmeal. Then we can get home and get ready for meal number 2, which will be probably around 1.
And one more thing. If you're trying to be full, you're not on Retta, Tirzepatide, Ozempic. I don't know if Sam's on it or not. But if you're noticing you're not full enough and you're copying his diet, you need to add in some veggies. This is the secret. This is the hack. Vegetables and fruit. As much as he says this is filling, 8 ounces is meat and a couple packets of oatmeal, I could eat that twice over and definitely still be hungry. And so if you were to add some vegetables, some peas, some corn, some spinach, some asparagus, some mushrooms, strawberries, blueberries, you could add so much more volume for perhaps 100 or 200 more calories and be fuller than last time, not to mention the antioxidants, the vitamins, the minerals, the fiber. And so my opinion, this diet would be much, much healthier.
This is very similar to that breakfast. 10 ounces of ground beef, pre-cooked, strained, like this. I just had to take this out of the fridge.
10 ounces of beef this time because, well, there was 10 ounces left. Remember, you don't have to be exact. Just because it says 8 doesn't mean you can't eat 10. In the end, it's calories in, calories out. Whatever you eat in the totality of the day. But notice how much he goes on about being full and how he wouldn't notice if he added rice to the meal and how if you had Skittles, he wouldn't notice and he wouldn't be full. But yet he doesn't add those vegetables nor even fruit. And so Sam is saying one thing, but what he should be doing is listening and taking his own advice. And so why not learn from Sam's mistakes and listen to me? I'm telling you, if you want to be more satiated, more full, you don't want schmuck servings, you want your meals to be bigger, aside from, of course, getting my cookbook, but without the cookbook, add in more vegetables. Vegetables are low-calorie dense foods. They have a low amount of calories, and you get to eat a lot of it. And so that, my friends, is the secret. Please go and try it at home.
You don't have to jump straight to like trying to do Ozempic to try to mitigate your hunger. To have a little bit more caffeine during the day.
And so Sam says, look, you don't have to jump right to Ozempic. There's things you can add in to curb your appetite before doing that. For example, he says, why not use some caffeine? Caffeine is going to reduce your hunger. And so pre-workouts or coffee and so on, it's absolutely going to work. And so one of my recommendations for that, for example, would be the Blue Lobster pre-workout. Highly recommended. Code Greg, 15% off. But how on earth could you be on a diet and be hungry and not have considered GLP Max? Not everyone wants to start injecting and purchasing things from oftentimes, they're not like Algorex, they're some sketchy random website, and they're not even pharmaceutical grade peptides and so on. And so, of course, you're getting your items from Algorex because you shopped around, you went to Merrick Health, went to Algorex and saw how much cheaper it actually was. You thought, thank you, Greg. Thank you for saving me so much money. And on top of that, use code Greg for 10% off. But if you don't want to go that route, GLP Max, reduce your hunger, reduce your cravings with a simple pill that you only have to take every 2 days. How hard could it be? Code Greg, 15% off. And no, it's not as strong as Ozempic. It reduces your appetite by approximately 28%. That's actually a lot. If you're an 8 out of 10 hungry and you're starting to think, man, I'm going to have to cheat, reduces it to a 6. Very manageable. And so why not start with GLP Max? Very popular seller. Code Greg, 15% off.
All right, a very familiar sight indeed.
Next, he's off to do his second workout of the day. And the second workout, it's cardio. I used to do this exact same thing. I preferred to burn off some more calories in the evening because how much energy do you really need to go to bed? Not a lot. And so you do your cardio, you burn off your calories, and then after this, you're then working up your appetite and you can then eat meal 4. Keep it low in calories, of course, high in protein. And that is exactly what Sam is doing.
11 ounces of just a big block of turkey breast.
Next, 11 ounces of chicken with a couple packs of oatmeal and, of course, the sugar-free barbecue sauces or perhaps ketchup and so on. Excellent idea. And he describes having a low-calorie peanut butter and bam sandwich.
Like I'll do powdered peanut butter where it's like PB Fit.
In this exact cookbook, there is the best low-calorie peanut butter recipe of all time. The lowest amount of calories with maximum protein, 4 times more than actual peanut butter. And so why are you consuming regular peanut butter when you can have peanut butter and have 4 times as much? That and a low-calorie jam, keto bread, and so on, and you have a delicious childhood memory favorite for less than half the calories.
Why isn't this guy eating a bunch of vegetables? And where are the fats?
I mean, you must be legitimately thinking, why is bro not eating vegetables? Some of you are thinking, oh, he's not eating fruit because of the sugar. Also a stupid idea. He's talking about how you can have sugar. And so where's the fruit? Where's the vegetables, Sam?
I mean, I get my blood tested regularly, and that's not just hormone levels. That shows your, like vitamin levels and whatever. I haven't noticed any deficiencies.
Well, that's all fine and dandy, but what about the satiation, the fullness? What about that? We're talking about how to be full, not be starving, and you're avoiding the low-hanging fruit of consuming vegetables. I say you add it back.
If I could decide what to have left, like what to have basically 400 calories left of in the day, I'd totally rather go to bed eating 400 calories of carbs versus 400 calories of protein.
I'm exactly the opposite. I would much rather eat protein versus carbs before bed because when I eat carbs, I don't know if you're the same way, you start eating some ice cream, some chips, some pretzels, some cookies, crackers, and so on. I find it very hard to stop. Carbs for most people are trigger foods, while salmon and chicken breasts are not. And so if it's 11 o'clock at night and you have 400 calories left to consume and you open up a cereal box or pretzels and so on and you start eating them, it's very hard to put your hand down and say, that's enough. You're obviously still going to be hungry, especially when you're eating carbs. As soon as you start eating, you're going to eat more. In comparison, if you eat a couple of chicken breasts, it's easier to say, you know what? I'm not going to have that third chicken breast. I'm not going to have that third piece of salmon than to say, I'm not going to have one more bite of ice cream. And so if I were Sam before bed, I would be consuming more protein and less carbs. But hey, that's just me, a 50-year-old bodybuilder who's competed 59 times. I don't know anything.
Is these caramel rice cakes. A regular rice cake, unflavored, anything.
And so last meal of the day, he's already at 249 grams of protein, doesn't need any more protein. He's at 37 grams of fat. He normally has 60, but today he's decided, I want a lot of carbs, less fat, and the same amount of protein. And so he's opted for caramel rice cakes, which is essentially a bunch of carbs with sugar added on top. And so essentially Skittles. There's no difference to your body between eating Skittles and eating caramel rice cakes. Myself, I would have grabbed more protein. What do you think your body needs to build muscle while you sleep? Carbs, sugar, or protein, amino acids? Ding, 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 ding. We could play that song, but if your final answer, was you need protein, then you're right. And remember, not everyone has the discipline of Sam Sulek, and so if you don't have the discipline, the willpower, if you're perhaps not on Retta, Zepic, and so on, I would strongly suggest you try not to eat just carbs before bed.
So if the scale isn't changing, I've got to change, right? I've got to change the routine.
And so if he continues to drop 1 pound a week, his calories will stay at 2,500. Now, what happens if he's dropping 2 or 3 pounds per week? He'll eat more. If the scale is going down too fast, he's likely losing muscle and he can increase the calories in his diet. It really is that simple. You figure out how much weight you want to lose and you eat appropriately in order to make it happen.
I'm trying not to do too much more cardio so I don't overdo it. I think an hour a day, 30 in the morning, 30 at night is about the sweet spot.
And so his cardio, it's already 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in at night. That's a total of an hour for those of you not good at math. And so it's already enough. It's already a lot. And so he's consuming 2,500 calories. And so to give you an idea of how fast my metabolism is, I eat 4,500 calories. If I were to eat 3,500 calories a day, I would lose weight very, very quickly. And if I were to eat 2,500 calories a day, I would feel like garbage. I would become anorexic and eventually I would die. It would be literally starving myself to death because I burn so many calories on the bike and in the gym that I wouldn't sustain this much muscle. My metabolism would go in the toilet. And so remember, just because somebody is eating a certain amount of calories doesn't mean you should copy it. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch any of those two loops. Of course, the cookbooks, the HDLT supplements, the Turk Builder Max and Turk Platinum. Perhaps if Sam added this into his diet, he could up his calories to 3,000 calories a day and still continue to lose weight. If you're interested in being sponsored or becoming a brand ambassador, click the link in the description. And if any of you guys out there know anyone looking to carry your supplements in gyms and or stores, of course, click the link in the description. For coaching, click the link in the description. For anything in the world that you're thinking of, click the link in the description. And until next time, period.